Brothers and sisters, welcome to episode number 51. What is love like? Today we're going to learn about what love is like, and it's probably going to involve an ox. It's an absolutely crazy story in Deuteronomy. So you've heard love your neighbor as yourself. Jesus even said that. And today we're going to hear about love your neighbor's ox as you love your neighbor. It's such a wonderful passage. So the star today is going to be the ox. Watch for him in the story. This is Deuteronomy chapter 22. You shall not see your brother's ox or his sheep going astray and ignore them. You shall take them back to your brother. And if he does not live near you, and you do not know who he is, you shall bring it home to your house, and it shall stay with you until your brother seeks it. Then you shall restore it to him. And you shall do the same with his donkey or with his garment or with any lost thing of your brother's, which he loses and you find. You may not ignore it. I'll say it again. You may not ignore it. You shall not see your brother's donkey or his ox fallen down by the way and ignore them. You shall help him to lift them up again. So the most interesting part of this passage for me is that if I see someone's ox in trouble, astray, that I will be tempted to ignore it. So there's going to be a tendency in this passage, in the teaching of this passage, is to say, this is not my problem. The first temptation is going to be to ignore this. You are going to want to ignore the situation. You're going to want to say, hey, I didn't see that random ox in my driveway. So in fact, the warning here is that you must not specifically not see it and ignore him. So imagine you're at the grocery store, you come home, you pull into the neighborhood, and there is an ox, a stray ox, in your driveway. And you're going to want to ignore it. Now, why is that? Well, it's because what the rest of the passage says about it. It says, even if you don't know the dude, bring the ox home. Let me say that again. Bring the ox home. Verse 2 of the passage says, if he does not live near you, and you do not know who he is, the owner, you shall bring it, the ox, home to your house, and it shall stay with you until, it doesn't give you an end date, just until your brother seeks it. So you may not even know the guy because he may not be local. You may not know the dude. You may not know the ox, nor do you know how long this is going to last. Is it going to be an hour? Is it going to be a day till he finds you? Is it going to be a week? No, it's until he finds you. In the meantime, you're burdened with an ox. So have you ever watched someone's dog for a weekend? Suddenly now you've got an ox in your driveway, and you're not sure who the owner is or when he's going to be back. And you know this, he weighs 71 times more than my 35-pound dog. You do the math. So you may be helping someone you do not know for a time that you do not know, via an ox you do not know, to bring that ox into your house or to your own. So you've heard of the definition of a good soldier as one that doesn't run away from the gunfire, but the hero guy is the one that runs to the gunfire. And this passage says, write this down, run to the ox. So you and I both know that, and I would just imagine, you probably haven't thought about this, but an ox is an inconvenient bedfellow. They are big. So baby oxes, little teeny ones, weigh a ton, and the big ones weigh twice that much. They're thirsty, they're hungry, they're smelly, there's poopy, can you imagine? And they're dangerous. Well, one thing we know about this particular ox that's in your driveway is we know that he is uncooperative. Well, how is that? We know for sure that he's uncooperative. Well, why is that? If he was cooperative, he'd still be with his regular real owner. So this ox comes with no name tag, but he does come with a price tag. So a full-grown cow in America runs about $5,000. Now, this is a working ox, so I would imagine it's even more valuable than a regular cow. And probably, as a means for production, this guy is life and death to its owner. All right, so let's draw some conclusions here. So this passage, you may be tempted to think, hey, this is about property rights, but the property rights is really just a means to an end. The end is love. This passage is about love. Love your neighbor as yourself. And what is love like? Well, we have to go to the ox. We have to learn from the ox. So it's going to be inconvenient for sure. It says, take this thing back to your brother if you know whose ox it is. But if it doesn't, take it home. It's going to be intrusive. You've got an ox to deal with that you didn't plan on. You made no ox plans. And it's going to be incursive and invasive. And then the stickler is you're going to be tempted to ignore it. So what is love like? Well, it's like a soldier running to the gunfire. And here we have a neighbor, or perhaps a non-neighbor, could be far away, with a lost ox, and the charge is to love. The charge isn't to run, it's to run to the ox. So a good title today is Run to the Ox, but I choose What is Love Like? So the passage is about love told through the story of a lost ox. Now for sure, this ox, the three eyes of love. Love is going to be inconvenient. It's going to be intrusive, and you're going to be tempted when it hits the fan, you're going to be tempted to ignore it. You're going to be tempted to ignore the incursion. Why? Because of the inconvenience and the intrusiveness. So write this down. Love is inconvenient. Love is intrusive, and you're going to be tempted to ignore the actions of love. So a decision to love is inconvenient, intrusive, and you're going to be tempted to ignore it. So you'll be tempted to ignore this incursion. So Scripture here teaches us to not ignore it, but to run to the battle, run to the gunfire, run to the ox. So here's my challenge for you as we close. Go out to the driveway of your life and look around for this really big thing that's really intrusive and really inconvenient and expensive probably, and do a gut check. Are you tempted to ignore this big thing, this big problem? And if so, you're probably onto something, and pursue it. So what is love like? It probably will involve an ox, an inconvenient, intrusive ox that you're tempted to ignore. And today's passage says, run to the ox. Thanks for listening.